The flying horse. Many centuries ago, in the time when science still mingled with magic, Shah Saba was lord and master of Persia. This wise ruler delighted in every new and ingenious invention of the times. One festival day, 3 ingenious men, skilled and cunning in the art of invention, came to his court. Were they magicians or scientists? It is hard to say, my lord, because they worked in secret. What I can tell you is that they came from 3 countries, India, Greece, and Persia. The king's throne was set up in the gardens before the palace. The whole court gathered around and looked on. First stepped forth the Indian. He knelt down and kissed the ground before the king's feet. A slave unveiled his work, a golden statue of a soldier blowing a trumpet. "And what is the point of this?" asked the king. "Its point, my lord, is that it will keep you safe," replied the Indian inventor. "Safety is indeed a great blessing," replied the king, "but how will it achieve that?" "My lord, place this statue by the gate to your palace, and if an enemy approaches, the golden guard will sound his trumpet and the evil one who means you harm shall fall down dead." The king suppressed a yawn. "I have something like that already," he replied. "Next." And then stepped forth the inventor from Greece. He prostrated himself on the ground, before presenting a diamond-studded cockerel. "And the point is?" inquired the king. "My lord, you will always know the time. This golden bird shall cock-a-doodle-doo on the hour every hour. Furthermore, at the end of each month, it will do a little dance." The king was unimpressed. "And why should I care what the time is?" he asked. "A king does exactly what he wants when he wants. It is for others to hang around and await my pleasure." Next. Third and last, the Persian inventor took his turn. He too kissed the ground. The king looked down from his throne. "I hope for the sake of your neck that you have something novel to show me." The Persian held his palms to the sky, swiveled his eyes, and said, "You shall, my lord, shortly behold the greatest marvel of our age. If God be willing." He snapped his fingers and 6 slaves shoved and heaved a large object into the royal courtyard. It was covered by a cloth, but one could see that it had the shape of something like a horse. Noticing its form, the Greek inventor slipped quietly away, for he feared that trouble would follow shortly. "Well, what is it?" "Show me," commanded the king impatiently. The inventor whisked away the cover and revealed a black statue of a horse. No gold glistened. No diamonds sparkled. It was made of that dark, solid, and extremely heavy African wood known as ebony. "And what is the point of this ugly object?" asked the king somewhat impatiently. "Allow me to demonstrate," replied the inventor. And with surpassing agility, for he was not in the first flush of youth, he jumped onto an upturned box and then onto the horse's back. His finger twiddled a knob in the back of its neck, and the horse immediately took off into the air. It climbed steeply up above the heads of the gasping spectators and completed 3 airy circles in the sky before descending gently back to the lawn. The Persian inventor jumped off the horse and again threw himself onto the ground before the throne. This time, King Saba, Shah of Persia, could not help but marvel and be amazed. He clapped his hands in congratulation and exclaimed, "By Allah the Omnipotent, our Lord and benefactor, who created all living things and who feeds them with meat and drink, you spoke the truth when you said that you had a wonder worthy of our gaze. I must have that horse. Name your price, O inventor. Whatever you lust after, speak its name, and it shall be yours. The inventor replied, Truly, O Lord, this horse shall take its rider wheresoever he commands. It shall cover the journey of a year in a single day. Yes, 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 I believe your words, for I have seen this marvel with my own eyes, said the king. What is your price? My invention is worthy of the highest price, went on the inventor, somewhat nervously. I crave, O munificent lord, nothing less than the hand of your daughter, the princess, in marriage. Those who stood nearby and heard these words were astonished, for it was brazen of this inventor, a nobody of no noble blood, getting on in years, and far from pleasant on the eyes, to make such a request. It seemed likely that his ugly head would soon be separated from his neck, but perhaps the king was under some spell, for he replied, Granted. Now the king's son was among those who overheard this. His young heart was furious that the king should dishonor his family by giving away the princess to such a scoundrel. Better marry her to a snake charmer or a rope trickster, he thought. He rushed off to the chamber of his sister. From her window, she looked down into the garden and saw her husband-to-be. Immediately she tore at her lovely face and sobbed and cried. O fie, am I to marry this creature? His hair is frosted, his eyebrows are mangy, his beard and mustaches are stained, his eyes are red and goggling, his nose is like an eggplant, his lower lip is drooping, his teeth are knocked out. In short, he is a brute, a monster, the ugliest ogre of our age. Then she went back into her room, lay down on the floor, rubbed dust into her hair, tore her clothes, and kicked and wailed. Her brother was filled with pity and fury. He ran down to find the king. "O father," he pleaded, "I fear you have been greatly deceived. This trickster's flying horse is nothing more than an illusion, the sort you can see in the marketplace any day. His art is not invention but hypnotism. He has made fools of our eyes." "What say you?" said the king, turning to the inventor. "Magnificent lord and master," he replied, "I invite the prince to mount the horse and see for himself what power it holds, for to experience for oneself is to believe." The king agreed, and he commanded his slaves to bring out the horse of wonder. The prince, who was a splendid rider, mounted it with ease and struck its ebony sides with his stirrups, but it made no move. "Ha! It's useless," he cried. But the inventor looked up and said, "My lord, feel under the horse's mane. There is a little screw there. Turn it to the right and behold the wonder of the horse." The prince wore a look of scorn on his face, but he did as the inventor bade him. Immediately the horse began to climb into the sky and head for the sun. The king was perplexed and cried out, "By he who rules the universe, bring him back, for he is my one and only son." But the inventor put on a mournful face and replied, "My lord, the arrogance of youth has done for the prince. I told him how to make the horse climb, but he did not wait for my further instructions on how to bring it back to land. He is flown away, and you shall not see him again until the end of time." When the king heard these words, he was overcome with sore rage. He took off his crown and threw it on the ground. He called for the guards to take the inventor down to the dungeons and clap him in irons. While the trickster languished there, the king shut the doors of his palace and gave way to mourning and grief. Your own channel Diary of Stories. Thanks for support.